So usually when you see or think about freshwater pearl jewelry, 9 times out of 10, what you're thinking about is more traditional style jewelry that has either been knotted with individual little knots in between each of those beads, or maybe strung and then using like crimps on the end, like on a jewelry wire or just on thread. But what we're going to do in today's tutorial is something a little bit different. So we're going to be using those freshwater pearl beads in more creative and interesting ways. So first things first, I'm going to show you how to make some simple little components. So for example, we'll go with this little earring just here, which I really like this design, where essentially what we're doing is wrapping. We're going to use a head pin and some wire, and we're going to wrap around these lovely beads here to make them look like they're drop shape, but in fact, they are actually this sort of, here we go, where are some of them? So I can show you a few others. Here we go. They're actually these Baroque shape. So it's more like a sort of ovally shape, these big sort of blocky shaped ones like this, where they're sort of like elongated. I'm going to use those to make what looks like more of a drop shape, a pointy drop shape, and turn it into an earring. So you can see this looks like a big sort of rice shape, but here it looks like it's a nice big pointed piece and makes a fantastic neck earring, or maybe a pendant. If you wanted to have it in the center, you could wear it as a little pendant, put it on a thin chain maybe. So that's the first thing I'm going to show you. I'm also going to show you some great techniques for creating cute little links. These are the same pearls, but maybe I'll make one with some that are slightly smaller, which you could very easily do it as a necklace or a bracelet. I'm going to show you a really cool hooped earring, which is going to be wrapped. I'm going to do one using some silver beads, or maybe I'll use the rose gold. I haven't decided yet. And I might use some of our gorgeous coin-shaped beads just here as like a focal at the center of a right angle weave bracelet, for example. I'm going to show you this one I really like. There's a couple of different ways you can do this. It is called like herringbone, which is very, very fun to make. If we have a look, get nice and close, you can see there's like this herringbone shape effect, which I'm going to show you 2 different ways to get a more herringbone looking effect, or sort of a lesser one if you prefer it a bit more delicate like this. So there's going to be lots and lots of different things. We're going to play and experiment and try things out. Some things there's even going to be in this video that I haven't even decided whether or not I'm going to trial them, and we'll see how they go. They might look terrible, they might look great, but it's all about experimenting today and learning fun new techniques. Now, if anyone has any questions, by the way, just put your comment with a nice big letter Q at the beginning so that I know. So for example, this one, it's not a comment, but it's a lovely big one, so it was easy for me to spot. But if you put something like this with a big Q at the beginning, that'll just get my attention. I'll be looking for those sorts of things to try and answer them. So anyway, this one here from Little Beading Closet says, I love freshwater pearls, but never seem to know what to do with them. Well, hopefully after today's tutorial, you'll have some good inspiration. Now, what did I say I was going to do first? I can't even remember. Oh yeah, this little earring design here. So this one is very, very fun. I might make one that's a pendant in this particular instance, because I already have the lovely earrings. So maybe I'll do a pendant, I think. So first things first, the holes of the beads tend to have quite small holes. So if you have a look, freshwater pearls generally have these teeny weeny little holes. So if I have a look, you can zoom right in. Look at that, very, very small hole compared to the size of the bead. If we have a look at maybe this one as well, here's a teeny weeny tiny bead. Again, they have really, really small holes. See that? So the holes are around about 0.5 of a millimeter, half a millimeter. So once you know that, it means that we will be able to grab ourselves a wire that will fit exactly through it. So there's a question from Malcolm. We'll be able to buy this in a kit as well as separate beads. So the things for today, I haven't made up a kit. we're just doing our pearl sale. I'm just going to tell you some great ways that you can use the pearls. So there isn't a kit per se to make any of them. Just have a shop in the category and buy loads of the bits. If you go direct to the homepage, there is a link that says ideas and inspiration, something like that. I'll show it to you at the end, but you can click on that and all today's products are inside there, plus some pearls. There's plenty more than that though. But anyway, so like I said, if you want to be using these sort of things, you need very, very fine either wire, or in this case as well, we also need a very fine head pin. So I'm going to start with a head pin on this particular design. And if you have a look, they can be a little bit bent sometimes, which is fine. They're easy enough to straighten. But what you need to make sure is that the thickness of your head pin is not going to be too thick for your bead. So it's very important that you use a head pin that will fit. See, it goes onto this wire and it goes off of the wire easily enough. And so it can be used. And if you find, the funny thing about these sort of like little head pins is if they get a little bit stuck, you can see it might be just that there's a kink in it or something. You can always use a wire straightening tool, which are called nylon jaw pliers, like this just here. And you can just take your little nylon jaw pliers and slide it up the wire to get it just that little bit straighter. And then hopefully your pearls will thread on much easier. See that? See, it didn't quite want to go on the first time, but now that I've done this first little bit, it's much, much easier. So anyway, first thing that we're going to do, like I said, we're going to create this wrap shape like this here. Now, the more pointed you want it to look, the longer above your head pin you need the loop to be. So if you wanted it to look like it was super long, you need to make the loop of your head pin all the way up there, or like, you know, higher up. Obviously, I don't want it to be too out of proportion. So I'm going to say maybe somewhere around about here for the base of my one. So maybe about there. Does that look about right? Okay. And if we grab ourselves, we're going to be using, in terms of tools, some round nose pliers like these. If you've got nice and fine ones, that's even better. The wire straightener is always a handy tool when you're working with wire. You'll need some cutters as well, which you want to have ones that have a nice flat surface so you can get quite a flush cut. And then you need some gripping pliers, which are flat on the inside, like these ones just here. So, Christine says, do you have a book or sheets with all of the patterns that are going to be not part of the kit today? Well, no, not necessarily, because a lot of them are sort of just things that I'm almost experimenting with today. I've got ideas of what I want to do, but exactly what I do and how they turn out, well, we will see. It's all a bit of playing and experimenting here. So anyway, to make that nice little loop style one, we're going to see Jane here. I think Jane is clearly watching the horse races here in Cheltenham. She says, I'm dipping in and out. The races are getting in the way of my hobbies today. Exactly. So that's what I was talking to you about, the horse racing in Cheltenham, which is going on today, which is just down the road. So anyway, I want my loop to be about maybe around about here. And if you have a look where the point is that you do it, where you pinch up the tool is the size of the loop you'll create. So because I want this one to be a pendant, I think I might actually make the loop a little bit higher, a little bit larger this time, so that I can thread it through like a chain, for example. So I'm going to just bend this wire over my little piece just there. So it's at like a nice 90-degree angle just there, if you have a look. And then what we'll do now, I'm going to readjust my pliers to the same sort of point, and I'm going to fold this over the top of this loop here, because that is going to create a perfect little loop around this plier. So if I just bring it up and over, and we bring it to the other side like this, all the way over, you can see it starts to create that nice little loop at the top. And all we have to do again now is reposition our pliers like so, and continue bending until we get past where that loop is. See that? And if you want to make it a little bit straighter, you can always push this until this is directly underneath the loop. So if you have a look, the one edge of the loop is here, the other edge of the loop is there. Sort of fiddle with the position of this. See how it moves like that if you want to. You can go, yeah, that's about the center of my loop just there. Let's put it there. We'll hold that. And now I'll try and do this. I'm trying to do this on so that it's easy for you to see what I'm doing on the camera. Hopefully it will work okay. We're going to just try and push this wire around. Usually you can do it much tighter if you're not trying to show a camera. But look at that. See, look, I've rotated it to the other side. Now we want to continue rotating it around our head pin like this and try and take it. I'll try and zoom in so you can see so that it is just below that first little wrap. See that? So if I continue wrapping, it's like a second little wrap just below the first one. And continue going around and around, and then take it around again and try and get it as close as you can. It's not too important on this particular one, thankfully, till it's nice and tight like that around. And you can do it even again if you want to, but once you've done it a couple, that is more than enough. And we're going to just use our cutters. I'll zoom out now. And we'll use our cutters and just snip that little headpiece off so that now it's a nice little neat loop like this. See? So this is going to give us sort of our base piece for the size of our loop. Maybe I've made this a little bit too long, but hey, whatever. We're experimenting. We're having fun. If this goes terribly, it doesn't even matter. It's all good fun and good practice and just trying things out. So now you can take your wire, which I'm using the 0.5 millimeter color, the 0.5 millimeter artistic wire, which is more or less these colored electroplated wires with a 0.5 millimeter thickness, which I think that's something around about 24 gauge, maybe. Someone in the US or someone in the UK, please correct me whether or not it's 24 gauge. This is 0.5 millimeter. Whether it's 0.5 gauge, 24 gauge or 26 or something like that. Let me know which one it is. So anyway, now what we're going to do, we're going to get ourselves, you can use whatever color you want, by the way. We've got lovely rich red colors like this, which could be absolutely beautiful. This is 0.5 mil, so I think it's a little bit thicker than 0.32 mil. There's other colors as well, like these rich, lovely sort of pinky colors. Whatever color you want to go for, gold, silver, purple. We have many, many colors to choose from. I think there's about 24 colors or so. We also have the silver and the gold, of course. I'm using the light gold today. They come in these little spools, and I'm going to just feed myself off some. You can probably get by with, so the longer, it's better to have too much wire than not enough, because if you have too much wire, you can cut off the excess. If you have not enough wire, well, you're in for a bit of a problem. So it's always better to overestimate the amount of wire that you need than underestimate, because that is how you can end up with problems. So I'm going to give myself a piece about 50 centimeters for this particular one, just because I've made such a long little loopy connection-y bit there. And I'll just take my cutters, give that a cut. The spools have about 15 meters, so there's plenty to play with. So we'll take that there, and I'll give it a little straighten. Just with my fingers is probably more than enough, just to get it a little bit less loopy. There we go, and that's a bit straighter now. Look at that, it's coming together quite nicely. Yes, it is 24 gauge, says Janie. So 0.5 millimeter is 24 gauge wire. I thought it might be. I wasn't 100% certain, but that was the best that I could remember. So anyway, get it nice and straight. And what we're going to do is attach our wire to the very, very bottom of this loop. So just take it through the loop. And just like kind of before, it doesn't matter if you do this a little bit messily. It's like, especially if it's your first time, you can just sort of, even just doing it with your fingers, it's perfectly fine. You don't need to use like a tool to get it absolutely perfect or anything by like that. Just wrap it around, and you can even take it through here. You can use the long end or the short end, but just pull it nice and tight so that it wraps around a few times onto your wire, because this is literally just attaching it. It doesn't need to be too neat. It's going to be pretty much hidden anyway. I'll use my longer one as well, just so you can sort of see that both can be used. And we'll pull that through, pull, 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 pull. Try not to get it caught over the top of the other side, and then pull a little bit more. Keep this other one out of the way. Pull, 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 pull. And if you just rotate it so that it's sort of going to go straight, this is at a 90 degree to your sort of loop, you'll find that it goes through much, much easier. So you pull and get it through. There we are. And that is just a couple of little loops attached there. We can slide that down. You can do it another if you want to get it even more firmly attached, but it isn't hugely necessary. You can always just rotate it around so that you're only ever sort of doing it on the outside, like so. And let's just push it inside once more. And you can even use your pliers to get like a firmer pull if you want to, by taking that through there. And then I will use my gripping pliers to just grip the end just here, like so. And then just give it a nice tug. And then that pulls through. And you can see while they're not all perfectly neat together, they'll easily be bunched up together if I squeeze them together like that. And so if you have a look, there you go, see? Not the neatest work I've ever done, but when you're trying to demonstrate it and show it on a camera, I think that's more than sufficient. So anyway, once we have that, we don't need this piece anymore at the top. We can just sort of cut that off. I'll just fold it once more to get it sort of down and out. And then we'll just come in here with our cutters. We'll just give it a little snip. There we go. And wrap that around the bottom. So now what we're going to do is just wrap around our wire. You can do it clockwise or anti-clockwise. It's up to you. Come on, camera. Let's get in focus now. But more or less, if you can try and just hold your little loop with your pliers, you'll find that it's much, much easier because it stops it from rotating. See? So now that we have it there, we can just take this over and under and over and under. And we sort of want to just like fill it up a little bit so that it is slowly but surely getting a little bit fuller and fuller and fuller. See, like this? And it just gets a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger. And if you try and do it where you just work from one direction and then work down and down and down until you've kind of got it, whoops, try not to let it go too high up again, like this, and keep going and keep going. And then once we're sort of have a nice full section, we can start covering our pearl. So again, I'm holding this fairly tight. And let's just start wrapping now. I'll do this a little bit slower once we get to the pearl so that we get a nice even coverage. We'll do maybe one more little section higher up, and we'll go down and down and down. And we don't need to go too far onto the pearl, but if you take your time and just get it just below where the previous row was, and just below where the next one was, and just keep bringing it down and bringing it down. And look, it'll start to cover the top of the pearl, see? So it looks a little messy at the minute at the top, but we can fix that in a minute. And then once we've gone here, we'll go back up there. And I'm going to just now let go of it at the top. I'm going to pinch with my fingers to hold the wire sort of tight. And now I want to take the wire back up. So you can see, because I had a nice big long piece, we already don't have that much wire left. See that? So now all I have to do is just bring it up And we can go relatively quickly back up to the top. We'll wrap it a few times. And if you want to, another thing that you can do is almost like a half hitch knot where you sort of loop it open a tiny bit at the back there and then take your wire back in and through that gap. See how it's almost like I'll press my finger to create a bigger gap. There we go. So there's like a gap that we've created, and we'll take our wire back down and through that gap. See? So now if I just pull, and I can give it a fairly firm pulling, just pinch it with my fingers and pull, 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 or even use your pliers to give it a nice firm pull like that there. And once you're happy that that is tight, especially if it's locked under, I'll wrap it once more just to get it a little bit closer, a little more. Here we go. And then this, look, I've only got a tiny bit left. I mean, I could have stopped earlier. It's up to you. But then there we go. If we just cut it with a little bit of spacing, and then I'll use my pliers here to just finish wrapping it that last little bit, like so. And if you need to, depending on whether you think it needs to be a little straighter, you can even use your fingers to do this. You can use the pliers. If I want to rotate it and say, yeah, let's make it that this section is the front. So what do we think? I think this is kind of a good spot to make the front. So you can rotate our little loop so that it's like this. And then you have, if you compare the size, we have a nice, look at that. See, look how much pointier I've made it just by making it that little bit bigger. And if we just squeeze this down, we can even bend our loop a tiny bit more. And if we have a look, just made it a little bit wonky there. There we go. You can always just get it just straight. And there you have your nice little pendant. And if you wanted to, I should have brought like a better bail, maybe. But it's fine. This will do. I've got some silver ones, silver loop converter bails. So more or less, if you want to do it through just straight through that, you can do. Otherwise, you can use like a converter bail, which is just a little piece like this where you can thread it in there and then you just close this up. So let's just thread that on. And then we'll use, I mean, imagine I've used a gold one rather than a silver one. You can just use your pliers to close that up to secure it. And now my little piece just here has a little bail. So what you can do at this point is either, well, leave it as like that if you want to. You can always neaten it if you prefer it a little bit neater. It's easy enough to neaten. You can always use your pliers to squeeze the wire. Do it gently, though. You don't want to over squeeze it or make flat spots or anything. Just squeeze it little by little by little and get it so it looks just the way you want it to. You can get a nice result there. And if you've got like a fine chain, where I have some of my shimmer chain here, for example, color's not quite right on this one maybe, but we can just thread the chain through here. And there you have a very cute little pendant on a chain. Imagine that I've done this in gold, not silver. I obviously wasn't thinking and went, yeah, let's do it in gold. Be great. So anyway, there's my little loop there. And this, if I just hold it up for you all so that you can see it on my face. Wait, where's my camera gone? So you can just hold that up, and it's just a really delicate single little drop just there on the chain. So a nice, easy little one to do there. That's a first easy beginner one. That's like our easiest project that we're going to do just there. Now we're going to do some more, which are a little bit more interesting, a little bit more delicate, a little bit more fun, maybe not. It's up to you what you think. So next, we're going to do something similar. Actually, I'll explain an easy one to you. I'm not going to show this one necessarily, but it's nice and easy. So this one here, for example, I have got what is called a floating necklace. I should come back to this. to my face here, if it will work. Come on now. So if we have a look, a floating necklace is that you use a transparent cord, or whatever you want to call it. A monofilament is the technical term. And if you have like a clear one, when you put it on, it just looks like your lovely pearls, if you get them untwisted nicely, which I have not done yet. There we go. If you hang them nicely, they will all just dangle perfectly. So it looks like they're sort of just floating on nothing. So you can make like a nice little thing like this. And the way you do that, which I'll just explain because it's so simple, is you grab yourself 3, 4, however many strands you want to do. You tie them together at the very end and put them inside of a culotte, which is very quick and easy to do. It's literally just a knot of beads, a knot of the cord inside there. You thread your beads onto the monofilament, and then just at the point where you want them to be, which these are nice little freshwater pearls, you just add a little bit of glue to your monofilament. You can use super glue if you want to, and just slide the bead there, hold it for a minute, and wait till the glue hardens. Then take your next bead, find approximately where you want it to be. You can do it as like a nice even 1 inch spacing, 1 inch spacing, 1 inch spacing if you wanted to, or you can do it more organically. It's up to you, but it's just a tiny drop of glue. Slide the bead into position and continue. And then once you've done all of your strands, you tie them together at the other end with the culotte there and attach your finding. So again, that is, I'm not going to show it just because the gluing process is a little bit messy, but it is very quick, very easy, and very effective looking. So they look like they're just sort of floating in midair like this and looking lovely when you're wearing them, and look great on the skin. Not so much on a big knitted jumper, but on the skin looks great, and a little bit of glue is all you need, which you can use a resin-based glue, or you can use like a super glue, E6000, or just, super glue. Both are fine. Now, another one actually, which I will show you, which is, this is actually one of the first things which I ever saw in terms of pearl jewelry. And I was like, how is that made? Like, I had no idea. It looked really complicated, like it had been crocheted or something. And when I saw the secret, I was like, what? So anyway, what I'm going to be talking to you about now, first things first, is Cashy pearls. So Cashy pearls, like I said, they have these lovely irregular shapes where they're all kind of jaggedy, and generally they're drilled from the top of the bead rather than through the center. Sometimes they're through the center, but they're all irregular and jaggedy and wonky and really organic looking. And they look beautiful as just a very simple little piece of jewelry like that. If you wanted to, as a bracelet or maybe as a simple necklace, they are perfect for that. But what you can also do is have a second one. For example, just say you've got another one. So I'm going to have 2 bracelets, and you can wear them at the same time if you want to, and you go, yeah, there you go. There's my white one. There's my pink one. Wear them at the same time. Beautiful. But this is where the magic happens, and this is what I really like about this one is PRL 3002, by the way, and this one is 1005, I think, PRL 1005 on the website. What you can do with these, which is extremely fun, is you can make them as separate bracelets, like necklaces, whatever you want, or you can do them together on a 2-strand clasp and put them side by side and then twist. So when you go to wear it, instead of just, actually, do you know what? This is my favorite way of doing this. I'm going to put it to the face camera because it looks really cool when you do it. You can just wrap them around each other like this. And when you've done that, it looks like it has been crocheted into this big, thick, single piece that is considerably more substantial. Now, something that you can do when you do this is when you string them up, because you don't leave them on the original strand, this is just for display, add in some teeny weeny tiny crystals. So for example, I have just here, these are not the right color. But anyway, so if we have a look, I've got some 3mm my Aurora bicones, the precision bicones. These ones are. So these ones are a little bit higher quality than the ones which just come on the strand, but they are perfect for this because they tend to have lovely surfaces. I'm going to use some of these a bit later, but anyway, you can space them in to make your beads go a little bit further if you want to. Clear crystal is also a nice option. Plus, then when you're moving, you sort of blinging, the crystals hit the light and your pearl jewelry pops with sparkle, which looks great. But then, like I said, all you have to do is twist them. And because they have these jaggedy edges, they all just interlock with each other really, really nicely. And you end up with what looks like a beautiful crocheted piece that is greater than the sum of its individual parts, I think. But then, if you do have it as two separate strands, you can then go back and just have them as individuals again. And that is literally something that you can do with a tiny bit of tiger tail and a couple of crimps, which tiger tail is just jewelry wire. If you've never seen it before, good quality tiger tail, string them up, wrap them together, done. So anyway, that's the next one, which is a little bit different. You can always mix in interesting and different colors. This one here is PL201, another Cashy pearl, which if you want to get a bigger contrast, you can always wrap. Let's just do this one real quick so you can see. You can also wrap them tight, wrap them loose. It's up to you how you want to do it. There we go. And again, you've got that nice crocheted spiraling effect happening from the two colors. And it looks like it's all just one single piece. Then they separate out and they look really, really good when you wear them. So that's just another fun idea for using Cashys. Okay, now, next thing that we're going to do, I'm going to show you how to make a loop earring. So I have these little earring pieces like this. And essentially what we're going to do is take some very small pearls, which we can use something like this one, which is PL280, which is a natural pink potato pearl, which they are 3 to 4mm in size. So these are what I'm going to use. And what I will do with them, more or less, is wrap them to be attached to the outside of our little metal loop just there. So starts sort of here, and it will go all the way around like this till you get to the other end, and then you just remove them. So let's grab ourselves. I have a few just loose ones already, which I can grab. And again, because I've got gold earrings, I'll use the same gold wire, the light gold color again. Again, you want to make sure you have more than enough wire. You don't want to have too little. It's very important. But you don't need too much for this one. This one is only a very, very small, I think it's 25mm, the ear wire piece here, which obviously you wear it. This is the front, goes, there's the back, and these just pop open, put it in your ear, and close it back over. So what we're going to do is kind of similar, funnily enough, to the previous one. And again, you only need about 30 centimeters or 12 inches worth of wire just there. It's more than enough, but always err on the side of excess than having not enough. So I'll go with a little bit more just to make sure I don't run out, because that would be very bad. And once again, we're going to just start by wrapping our wire very neatly, if we can, onto this little piece just here. So the easiest way to do that is to just hold it nice and tight just up here, and then pull it through. Try and get it nice and close if you can. Pull this through here and then back over. Then take it back. Take the long end back through. Try not to let your wire get too kinked or twisted while you're doing this, like I almost have. And try and get the majority of it through if you can. There we go. Nearly got it kinked there. And you want to make sure you pull all the way through. Get it nice and tight. And I'll do it once more even. And so we'll go back nice and far. Pull, pull, pull. Try and keep it straight while we do it. Like that there. And then once it's through, pull tight, back over. And that will do for now. We're going to start by wrapping. So where you want your wire to be is on the underside and near you. See there? Like that. So underside and towards. So now I can always cut this little piece off, by the way, this little excess bit. I don't need it anymore. Let's just bend it upwards for now. I'll deal with it a bit later. But anyway, we're going to take our very first pearl now, and we will thread it on our wire. So once again, if you've got 0.4 millimeter wire or 24 gauge if you're in the US, that should go through your little wire, through your pearls, and slide right down. And then once we get it approximately into position, we'll just hold on to this, and what we'll do is hold the bead so that it is on the outside of the wire, and we're going to take it down, and we'll pull the wire through, and then we'll go around once again to try and get it so that it's nice and straight on there. Pull it through again, and then down and through once more, so that our wire is back to being underneath and towards you. So pull that up, and we'll grab our next little pearl bead, and we can thread this fella on like so. Slide it on down, and again, we want it to be on the top of our work. So we put it like this here, hold it there. You can almost pinch them together when you do it and sort of bend it a little so that the wire will sit upright. Take it to the back of your thing here, and then we're going to pull it through our little piece, get it nicely in position like there so that they're nice and close, and wrap tight all the way. Pull it back through again, and that will be locked into position. And you just continue doing this now until you've more or less filled this little process. So I'll do a few more. I won't do too many because I'd rather it be more empty than more full. So there's the next one. And we will take it to the back. We'll pull it all the way through like so. And then get it once it's in position, pinch them tight, wrap, and through. There we go. There's our next one. And you can just keep going, see? So it is very, very easy, very, very quick. If I use my bead mat here, I can lay out my beads a little bit easier. Let's grab the next one. If you've got multiple different colors of beads, you can always put multiple different ones in. But this is a very nice way of making your beads go further. All of these things are ways to make your beads go a little bit further. So now again, let's just get this one into position, and we will bend it so that it's sitting sideways from the back and pull it through. Get it nice and tight and over the top. Put that there and back through again so that it's now coming back towards us. And the good thing is that you can always, because it's not going to be too tight, you can always slide this around. If you go, do you know what? I only want to do it so that it's right at the bottom. You can just put them right at the bottom if you want to. If you want them to just be a few at the front, you can always have just a few at the front. We'll do a few more. Why not? I'll do one more. And then we'll just do this as like a partial. But pull that there. Over the top. Go through. Next, I'm going to make another pendant, by the way. But I'll do it in silver this time. And we're going to do it graduating in size. So if we just wrap this here. And we go over the top. Pull it back through. And I'll do one last bead. Do you know what? I will, just to show you, because it looks a little bit ugly when it's just sticking out, let's just cut off that tiny little bit of excess. There we go. See, look how much neater it is once you've cut that little tiny bit off, funnily enough. See? But yeah, it doesn't need to go all the way to the back because no one's going to see the back of your ear. You may as well just do it to the bottom and then sort of fill towards the front. So maybe just, this sort of area. So that's going to give you this sort of one. And then once you've finished, you want to try and do something that matches exactly this side here. So if you have a look, it's got a wrap. It's just wrapped around 3 or 4 different times. So we'll do the exact same thing at the very, very end once we've done enough. But now I'm going to jump ahead and we're going to do like a graduated different little necklace piece that we can do there. So we can use a couple of different techniques. First thing I'm going to do, I'll do this one in silver, I think. So this one here, I'll grab myself some of my silver wire, which is lovely tarnish resistant silver. And we will make ourselves a nice little pendant here. So first things first, I'm going to grab, I don't need too much. Probably this is more than enough, just a couple of inches. And if we just cut them off. Now, Little Beading Closet again has commented in, she says, the pearls you're demonstrating with have such amazing luster. That's because we pick all of our beads by hand. We go there and we pick them at the pearl farm. If you watch Jermaine's video about pearl knotting, you can see where she's done these sorts of things, and you can watch the video. It looks really, really cool. Anyway, they explain that. So what we'll do now, I'm going to go with like a graduating pendant. So first things first, we're going to do what is called a wrapped loop here. And again, I could use another one of those little bails. So what we'll do is bend our wire to a 90 degree like we did before. See that? And then we'll wrap it over the top so we can say, yeah, let's make our loop fairly small if we want to. So the further down this tool, the further you go towards the tip, the smaller the loop will be. If we're going to make it a pendant, let's go about here. And we'll wrap. Actually, I'm going to need a little bit more than that. It's not going to be enough to make my wrapped loop. Let's just bend it 90 degrees. I'll straighten that out a teensy bit. Doesn't matter if it gets a little bent, it'll fix. Plus, you'll never see the difference anyway. There we go. So now hold it at that point and we'll wrap it over the top, try and keeping it relatively straight so it sort of comes back to where we begin. See, like that? And once again, see how it's sort of off to one side? We can always just hold this and bend that little piece so that it's in the center. So this big long one, which our beads are going to be on, let's get it fairly central. And now we will lift this other one up. So we sort of did this already before, and we're going to just rotate this around our work a couple of times. Let's do it maybe one more twist, which you can always use your pliers to grab the end if you need to, if you made it a little bit short like I just did. And then you have a nice little wrapped loop there. And again, like I said, if you want to just align it so that it is perfectly above, you can just use that piece to bend that. If you take the tool out gently, there we go. And that's going to become the top of our little piece just here. So I'll just cut with my pliers this tiny, actually it's small enough, I don't even need to cut it. Let's just squish it in a bit. There we go. And I'm going to put 3 little pearls. Why not? I've got 3 tiny little white nugget shaped ones. So let's put 1. Is that the whole? Yes. 1 little nugget, 2 little nuggets, and 3 nuggets. I think this will be nice. Like so. And then we're going to make a loop that matches at the opposite end. So just push these beads down into position so that they're nice and tight against your previous loop just here. And we're going to do the same process once again. So we want this one to have a slightly smaller loop this time, but we also want to have space for our tiny little wrap loop, remember, just here. So what we'll do is keep it relatively close, not too close to the bottom though. And we're going to just bend this over, reposition so that we have it nice. And we'll go, in fact, I'll make it even a teeny weeny bit smaller. We're going to wrap it over the top like this and bring it down. and just reposition everything if you need to. So we want this to be, again, relatively central. Maybe we want it to be a tiny bit closer to the bottom. Put that there, get this a bit here. There we are, and that's a bit more central, and we can just wrap around this a few times. So if I keep my tool inside, it makes the wrapping process much easier. I'll zoom out so you can see what I'm doing a bit easier. And then we just, with your thumb, you can almost just twist the two against each other. And if you keep it relatively high angle, you'll see that the loops will stay fairly high up. You want it to be just enough that it's just going underneath. And one more. I think that will do. And that gives us a nice little finish just there. Why not? That'll do. And now all I've got to do is grab my cutters once again. And this is just like a really fun little component. So that little process just there, you can use that same process of making components. You can make them have the same size loop or smaller ones. Obviously, don't forget to just, if I just zoom in, hopefully you can just see it maybe right where I cut the wire, just there. See how the wire is just sticking out that tiny little bit? That's going to be a bit of a burr and catch on things. So just use your pliers, squeeze it nicely in. Now it doesn't stick out. See that? Much, much neater. So anyway, now that we've got this, this is going to be the top end. Let's go with, we'll make another component, a tiny little one again. But this time we'll use just one fractionally larger pearl. And then I'm going to finish with one more even bigger pearl just here too. So let's do this one first. Again, let's just use a tiny bit of wire. We don't need as much wire this time. So just maybe, I don't know, a couple of inches again. It's, as I said, it's always better to have too much than not enough. This same technique is what I did on these ones here to make these components, which you can link them all together. And I'm going to show you a really good way of linking them so that they sit really neat. It's a little bit fiddly, but it gives you a really clean and permanent link that's never going to come undone. But anyway, you can do it with little crystals like I have on this one here. Like this, I think this size, I reckon, would make a fantastic necklace, for example, or a bracelet. Don't forget, I'm also going to show you how to do this herringbone one, so make sure you stick around for that. So next, we will do another little loop. So again, I've got my little piece just here, and we'll make our first loop. Let's, we only need it fairly small, but I'm going to use plenty of excess wire. If I've got lots of excess wire, it means I can also do more wrapping at the end to get the size of my wraps the same. So if I just bend it to 90 degrees and then reposition so that I can fold it, let's go a bit closer to the tip here, over the top and around. And I'm going to stop at this point here because we're going to slide this on to our previous one. So this is the top side, this is the bottom. If I put this on here, they're now connected and I don't have to worry about it coming undone. So I can just get my plier inside this gap. This is why it's a little bit fiddly, because you're doing both of them at the same time. So just hold on there. If you hold it on the side so that it can't slip off, makes it easier. Position this wire a little bit neater. We'll lay it over the top. And even if you've got the bead on there, that can help sometimes to give you something to grip onto. So I'll just thread the bead on so that we sort of have something to grip onto. And now I'm going to wrap this wire around a couple of times to make that next little link piece, like so. And I'm going to leave myself about this much wire so that if I need to, I can wrap it again later. But if you have a look, look at that. They are now connected really nicely. We can always straighten this little head piece if we need to a bit later on. You can always push them up to make it a little neater if we need to, which you can just use your pliers just very gently up the wire. Press it up the wire like this, and that will help to close these up if they're not quite close. Oh yeah, Janie says, make sure to hit that like button. I tell you, she's doing my job for me. Thank you very much. Exactly. And subscribe. I'm trying to get to 100,000. We're not too far, really. So now let's put this one here, and we're going to do the same at the other end. And if we just, again, I'll do this one nice and quick. Let's get it close to the bottom. Look, we got loads of excess wire here, which is good. Make sure it's only fairly close to where we want the piece. Wrap it over. Reposition your loop bit just there. And we'll go over the top all the way. Reposition it once again. And now we can twist them around each other. So keep it relatively close to being like a right angle. Come on now. You can get into focus. There we go. And twist. So just twist and twist. And you can see this is going to, if you want them to be like, if you like the look of the wrap, you can make your little pieces further apart. You can put them closer together. But see how this one, I've made it so that there's quite a lot. Once I'm about here, let's do another half a wrap to keep them consistent. See how I kept this little bit extra? Let's slide this down, and we'll give this one extra wrap, which you can even use your whole finger to wrap the entire thing. There we go. And just go around there. Get it around. Bend. You can even put your plier back in if you need to. And just wrap that little piece around so it gets a bit shorter. And look, now I've got the same amount of wrap on the top and on the bottom, and the bead is more closely held into place. So I'll just do one last one. Let's put this back into this piece, and around you go. There we are. And cut off the excess. A little bit there. And on the top, there's a teeny weeny bit of excess just up there too. So let's cut off that little piece of excess just in there. There we are. And we will use our normal pliers now to tuck those little bits inside so that we don't have that rough burr. And the good thing is that this is now very tight around my pearl. We have that beautiful look of the metal. Obviously, if you don't like the metal, you can tell I like the look of the metal. I think the metal looks really, really cool. But if you prefer it to look less, you just make your loops closer to the bead, which I'll do the next one so that it is closer to the bead so that you can see the gist. But this is also fun. This next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how you can use a bit of wire to make like a head pin. So we're going to dangle this last one from the bottom, and I'm going to use my wire now to make a head pin. So this one, it works better if you use a fairly long piece of wire. If you don't have any head pins, that's fine. The longer you make it, the easier, the longer this piece is, the easier it is to turn it into a head pin. So if I just take my wire here, we'll give this a cut. And what I'm going to do is use the very, very, very tip of my tool just here. I'm going to wrap it into like a loop like this. Then I'm going to reposition, and I'm going to wrap it once again. Try and keep it as small as you can so they're both consistent size. Oops, just fell off my plier there. There we go. And around there. So now we have two little pieces like this. And this is really fun. I really like this. So if you do this now, the easiest thing to do now at this point is put your thing back in the tool. And if you have a look, the wire is on this side here, see? So if I want to do this the best way, you put your tool back inside, and I'll give it a little half extra turn more. And we're going to turn our wire so that it is pointing outwards, away from those two loops. Now we'll take the very, very, very tip of our wire, and this is where it makes it easier to have a longer piece. The longer the piece of wire, the easier this process is. we're going to feed it back through those two little holes there that we've created. And if we just try and keep this here, pull it all the way through. And if I just grab a nice little tool, so I'll use my round nose ones just very, very, very close to the tip just here. And I'll use my gripping pliers. We're going to just pull, bend. If this doesn't want to bend, see how this has gone a bit straight? Just give it a little bend if it needs to. We want to sort of coerce it to go inside there. And now if I just grip to the underside of my knot, I can pull it through and it will give me, there we go, this really cool looking, and I can use my pliers to sort of straighten it a bit if I need to. There we are. This cool little looking headpin bottom piece. Right? Focus now. There we go. If your wire gets a little bit mushed, we can use our wire straightener. I'll show you it once I've got my wire a bit straighter. Straighten that up like so. You can always pull the wire a little bit tighter if you want to. But let's get that nice and straight. And now we have a teeny weeny little knot headpin base. How cool is that, right? I like it. So anyway, this one I'm going to thread now through here. Pull that there. And look, we've got our tiny little headpin base. This is another opportunity to pull it a little bit tighter. Look at that teeny weeny little headpin. And again, let's get this one much closer now this time. So if we have a look, we only need it to be fairly small, which this is going to give us a small little loop now. See how close I've got it to the bottom? We'll bend it over in one way, reposition, take it over the top and around, then reposition again so that we're holding above where we want to wrap, and we can just twist once, twist twice, 3 times, till it's sitting nice and tight. So there we go. See, I could have made this even smaller, really. It would have been even closer if I'd wanted it to be. So now let's just cut this little fella off. Get it nice and close. There we go. Look at all this. There's plenty of wire. I could make another little loop with that bit, but we'll just grab our pliers and we want to fix up that tiny little burr just there. So let's just, you know what, actually, I can probably cut that even shorter. Just there. There we go. That's better. And pull that in. There. Look at that. And that gives us our little connector piece here, which obviously I forgot to attach to my little bottom piece. So we can use a tiny little jump ring, or you could even just wrap them to each other. I have some oval jump rings around. Of course, I was not paying attention and forgot to connect it. But anyway, where's the jump ring now? Here we go. I've got a 4mm one right here somewhere. I'll see if I have one on my table. Give me 3 seconds. If not, it's going to just remain unattached. Oh, well, whatever. I'll have to reattach it later. Anyway, so yeah, try not to forget, like I did just then, to actually attach your piece to the other one. Oh, well. So anyway, there's my almost bail, or almost pendant, just here. If I'd remembered to connect it, it would have been smarter, but I forgot. So anyway, then we could do exactly like we did with this one. We can attach that same little bail topper to this little loop just here, and you've got a really cool, you can do it as an earring, you can do it as a pendant, you can do it however you want. Do it with less wire, do it with more wire. It's up to you how you do it. The smaller, the closer to the tip of your plier, the smaller these loops will be. The closer to the bead that you make the loop, the less wrapping you have to do, and the closer it can all be. So if you like the metal or you don't like the metal, it's up to you where you put the round nose plier. This little fella here. So anyway, now let's do something like this, shall we? Which we have our herringbone piece just here, which I will do it. I'll do it in 2 different ways because that's fun. I'll do it one in gold and one in silver. Let's try a different color this time, shall we? I got a nice big Baroque here in, I think it's the pink color. I should do it with a potato, but I didn't bring too many of them. Here's a nice pink colored Baroque. Or maybe I could use one of the silver Baroques. I got quite a few different ones here. There's lilac-y ones. All sorts of colors. Or maybe, I like these coppery ones. Maybe this is fun. Maybe I'll use this. I tell you, the coppery ones with the red wire, how cool would that look? But anyway, I'm not going to do that. Let's go, or maybe, I won't try that one because I haven't done that. Let's go. Oh, I've still got to do the bracelet. Don't let me forget. There's another thing. I've got so many fun plans. Next, so I'll just do one of these. Let's go with the pink. And I'll use the gold wire for that one. We need 2 pieces. One which, depending on if you want to make it more like a pendant or whether you want to make it more like a so whether you want it to be like this on the herringbone is on both sides, or if you want the herringbone on just one side. See that there? You can choose whether you want it on one side only or if you want it on both. It's up to you how you want to do it. But anyway, the easiest thing to do first, I'm going to do it so it's on both sides. Where's my wire? Here we go. So let's grab ourselves, again, about 30 centimeters is more than enough for our main piece. And then we need a second piece, which is going to be through the core. So first things first, let's grab ourselves about 30 centimeters, 12 inches of the gold wire. And then we need a centerpiece, which just a couple of inches is more than enough. Just there, see? And we're going to take this through and we're going to create something similar to what we've been doing already, where we've made like a little wrapped loop type thing. So with this one, the size that we make this little section is the size that our piece is going to become. So first things first, let's grab ourselves a little bit of wire. We're not going to make the head pin as yet. We're going to do that at the very, very end. So let's grab our long piece of wire and we're going to attach it to our sort of base piece. So all you have to do is I'm going to thread the bead on afterwards. So just take this and we're going to wrap it once, maybe a couple of times around our wire. It doesn't even need to be neat again because this is all going to be hidden underneath our work. But I'll just, once I've got it on, twist, 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 put that up here, twist about there. And I'll squeeze it all. Oh, sorry, it's not even on camera. Here we are. Just twist this around so that this other wire is sort of attached to our first one, which if I straighten that out, we don't need this bead anymore. We've got a little bit attached on here as well. And we will just cut off the excess little bit here, and this is where our bead is going to be attached to. So let's just bring in our cutters and snip this bit off. And we can always use our pliers to sort of push that bit up so it's a little bit neater. We don't want it to go too high, obviously, but just to attach things, there we go. And now we'll thread on our bead. We'll sort of go around about the middle and push our wire, slide it down to that middle section. There we go. See that? So now that's wrapped there, and we've got it fairly attached. It could be a little tighter. We can always just use our pliers to sort of smush it into place. There we go. And now we're going to do our very, very first little herringbone weave part. So there we go. That's now locked in place because I've squeezed it. Got rid of the excess. And we're going to do our first little herringbone bit there. So pop that over. And what we're going to do, we're going to just examine so that my wire is coming over the top of this piece just here, see? So it's over the top here, and we're going to take it very, very tightly down the edge of our bead, like so. And we're going to take it over the top of our little base piece. So make sure that that bead is hard against that. If it helps, you can even bend this temporarily so that it is not able to move. And we're going to pinch that bead. We're going to take it as close as we can to that bottom side just there. And we're going to do a nice tight twist. So over the top, we're going to go all the way around and back over so that we're coming out at the top again on the bottom here. Then what we do is grab this piece. We're going to do the exact same thing again, where we come very, very, very tightly around our bead, press the wire into the side of the bead. And then again, we want it to be over the top of this piece here, and then around the back and back over the top like that. See? So there's, oops, let's get a little bit closer. So now we're back at the top. What we're going to do here, see, look, you can see your bead is now nicely enclosed. We're going to take our wire around behind this wire here as close as we can, and we're going to pinch it nice and close until we get to right at the very, very, very bottom of this bead. So keep it behind until you get right here at the bottom. And then we're going to pinch it in place, and we're going to twist it all the way around like that and back over to the top. See? Now we're going to do the same process again, where you go just behind the previous wire, hold it nice and close, and then at the very last second, when you get back up here, we're going to hold it tight and then wrap and wrap so that it's back to the front. See that? And now again, we're going to bend this over so that it's behind this wire here. So pinch it in there, nice and close to that wire if you can. Like so. There we go. See how it's behind there now? Take your time with it. And then at the very last second, it comes back in front of that core wire. See? And then wrap it around and back to the front. See? Then we'll do the same again on the other side. So take it behind the most recent thread all the way up to the top. See that? See how we're getting this sort of nice, neat edging here? Back up here and then into position at the top of our work, and from the front around to the back. See that? Around to the back and back over the top. And there's our next one. And see, look, we've got 3 on this side. They go gradually towards the back, towards the back, towards the back each time. If they do get slightly out of position, you can always reposition them if you need to, and just try and get them nice and neat. But the neater you are, it's up the top here where you want it to be nice and neat. That's the most important area. So now let's push this to the back. Hold, sorry, I'll zoom out a little because I keep going out of screen just there. There, I'll move my chair in. There we are. So hold that to the back, and then right all the way to the very last second, then it will be in front, and we can over the top, round the back, back over the top, nice and tight, turn it over, and you just do that however many times you want. You can do it 5, 10, 20, a million. It doesn't matter how many. You just increase the size of your sort of herringbone shape each time you do it. So there's the next. And just make sure that your wire, your new wire, always stays behind the other and ends up out front there. And once you get to the point where you have done enough, which I'll do one more, you can see it creates like this nice edging as well. One last one over the top there, twist behind, back to the top. And how many have I got on this side? 4 and 5 on this side. We'll do it one last time. There we go. Pinch all the way to the top. Twist around. Whoops, I went to the back. Oops. Over the top. Make sure you're always going to the top. Then around the back, back over the top. There we go. So that gives us now that really cool herringbone effect, which it looks really cool because the pearl is like sort of wonky as well, which I like. It's really easy to sort of just adjust the wire to make it nice and neat and straight again. There you go. It's like this really cool organic effect. Like same as like this here. Like if you want this to be more exaggerated, you can separate them further out and stuff. Like I did them all pretty close to each other, but you can separate them so that they're further, and that exaggerates that herringbone look. But anyway, once you've done that, you can just wrap this around a couple of times. And if you want it to be a loop exactly the same as before, you can just pinch this. Let's do it relatively small at the bottom. And we'll go bend to a 90, reposition over the top, like so. Reposition it again so that we can get our wire underneath. And I'll keep this one out of the way for a second. Around and twist, and around and twist, and around and twist. There we go. And now we can just position that, which if you want it to be straight to the like one onto the top, you can do that. If you want it to be sideways, you can just rotate the head so that they can attach to each other like this with jump rings, for example. If that's how you want it to be, it's up to you. You can just stick the head in and twist. Then you come in with your cutters once again and just chop that off. And we don't need this one anymore. Let's just get it to the back and chop that off. And just use our pliers to squash that one in. There we are. And that gives you the top of it. And now this one, I'm going to do the bottom a little differently. Instead of doing it like a big wrap loop, I'm going to just bend it around to the back of the work. We don't need all of this wire, so I'll just cut off a good section like this. And then just bend this into the back. And there it is now, a lovely little pendant piece. See? So that's really easy at the back. All you have to do is just bend that so that the wire can't slide off. It's only very, very fine. Looks very good. And then there's a nice little herringbone style pendant, which if you just take your time, if it's a little bit messy, you can easily neaten it just by pressing the wire one by one towards the back a bit more, and it gets neater. So how was that? What did we think of our little herringbone piece? Pretty cool, right? I like those. So yeah, there you go. That could be an earring if I held it right. You know, that could be an earring or maybe a pendant. If you had a bigger pearl, you could do it on that too. Anyway, so now, last thing that we're going to do, which I'm going to use one of my beautiful coin-shaped pearls. You could use a diamond, you could use a round, you could use whatever you want. But let's go with one of these. So these are little coins. There's a hole, and it just literally goes straight from one side to the other. So it sits like this, and I'm going to make this the centerpiece of a little bracelet. So what I'm going to use, shall I do this with, I can do this with rose gold, do we think? Or shall I do it with even smaller little silver ones? What do we reckon? Would you, if you were, all of you ladies out there and gentlemen, hopefully, if you're watching out there, other gentlemen, David, for example, if you're still here watching, would you do it rose gold or would you do it silver? Now, bear in mind that these pearls, these coin pearls, are a peach color. So I'm pretty sure everyone is going to say, Maxine says rose gold always. So it doesn't matter what any of you others say. Unfortunately, I've been told, the boss has given me my instruction, rose gold it is. So that is what we're going to do. We're going to go this one here. See, there's that color there. And the rose gold. So let's just pick some. Well, do you know what the problem is? I've only got myself closed ring in silver. So this is just going to be a sample, tiny little sample piece that's going to be attached to some rose gold. Now, you could either use tiger tail for this. It will work just fine. Which, do I want to have a go with tiger tail? No, I'll use the monofilament. I intended to use monofilament, and I will. So the monofilament is this clear material here, which is very fishing line-esque. It is not stretchy. You could probably use stretchy stuff if you wanted to, but the good thing about this one, well, funnily enough, literally everybody said rose gold. Everyone. So yeah, the one that we're going to use is our monofilament. This is a nice fine one. The reason I'm using this is it will go through the beads, through the pearls, twice even. But I will use, this is a good tip from Jermaine's elastic bracelet tutorial. I'm going to use a little bit of tiger tail jewelry wire, which is very, very, very fine. And I'm going to use it to create myself like a little needle. So I will actually use a needle, but I will also use the tiger tail to help me. So I'll just cut myself a tiny piece of jewelry wire, tiger tail, and I'm going to fold that into a V shape, which I'll use my pliers to help me. So it's like a loop now, but if I just squeeze that, and I can even use my pliers to really get that end looking tight. There we go. It's like creating a kink at the bottom of my jewelry wire, and inside of this V shape, my wire, or monofilament in this case, is going to sit, and it's going to work as though I've been using a needle. So let's just, first things first, I'm going to tie my monofilament onto a closed ring. So I'm sorry that this is not a rose gold closed ring, but the beads will be rose gold. So that's about as good as I can give you, unfortunately. So we'll take that through, and we're going to just tie this to the middle of our thread. Let's put our little coin away for now. And where have I put the middle of my thread? This is only going to be a mini piece because what time is it? Wow, it is 4:25. This is a long stream. I can't even remember the last time I had a stream this long. I've just clearly had too many fun things I wanted to do. I should have chosen less. Maybe I'll make them all into little YouTube shorts. So anyway, this is the middle of my thread just here. And we're going to just use, same as you would like tying your shoelaces. We're going to go left over right. Add left over right again. Do it like it's double. Pull it tight. And now the other one, I'm going to do the other direction. So this is like always a little bit awkward. So instead of doing left over right, I'm going to do my right over the left. And I'll pull that through. And then I'll pull this through here again. Like this, and technically this creates a square knot, which is much, much, much stronger and far, far less likely to come undone, for anyone who ever wondered. But anyway, this is all part of Jermaine's elastic bracelet tutorial, how she does her knot with there. So there you go. That is now tied to the center here, and you can have a look. We've got, it's nicely tied there. One is going in this direction. The other is going in that direction. So we're going to start threading these. I mean, I could put the needle on, but maybe I need not even bother. Where'd I put my tiger tail? Here it is. I'll do one with tiger tail for now. This is to get it through the pearl a bit later. And I'm going to do some right angle weave. So I could do this with pearls, I guess, but let's do it with the metal beads. I thought it looked really cool with metal ones. So if we pick up 1, 2. If you don't know right angle weave, essentially it's the process of doing crisscrossing. So let's pick up 1, 2, 2 little beads on one side. See, I just used my bits of wire there. Let me just stop myself from dying of a cough with a big sip of water. And then I will take my second one, which I'll put an actual needle onto this end, just to make it a teensy bit quicker. You don't even, if you don't have a needle, you don't even have to use one. You could just, you should be able to just do it without a needle. The monofilament would be firm enough. So there we go. We've got this. So I'll put one on this side. And then what we're going to do is, if you imagine, we're going to like cross over to create like a cross shape. So if you've never done right angle weave, I've got other tutorials on it, which are going to be much more in depth than this. So I'm going to blaze through this because it's already 90 minutes we've been going. So I'm using this little thread just here. So we're going to go through the last bead. Wait, I'll lay it down so that it's a little bit easier to see. Where's my other one? Here we are. So we have one just here. Use a bead mat, by the way. It would make your life way easier, Matthew. There we are. So now we can see, look at that. It's all held in place now. We've got 2 on the left, 1 on the right, and then this one is kind of going to be the bottom. So we're making like a cross shape. So if you imagine, there'll be 1 bead at the top, 1 on the left, 1 at the right, and usually there'd be 1 at the bottom, but we're going to have our clasp there. So this one here, we now want to take it through this second bead, because this is going to sit at the top, but we want to go in the opposite direction. So if I just fiddle that through there, just very gently. I should have done this sort of like a 1 step at a time thing. So one thread goes through it in this direction, and the one I'm about to put through is going in the other direction. And when you pull that tight and get the clasp out of the way, it creates this little right angle shape there. See? So now if I grab my 2 little wires, my cords once again, 1 on the left, 1 on the right, and I'm going to do the same process again. So I'll put 1 on this side, 1 on that side, and then I'm going to cross through both. Clearly, I've just got something in my throat all of a sudden. So I'll put 1 on the left, which this wire is a little fiddly. There we go. 1 on the left. Then I'll do 1 without a needle just to make life a little easier. I'll use my V-shaped piece when I go through the pearl. 1 on the right, and slide it down. And then we're going to take 1 more bead. It'll be much easier once I've done this next one. After that, it should be nice and easy. We're going to take 1 more where we'll go through it in one direction. So this one, we're going to take it through in that direction, like this, and slide it down. And then the other piece of wire, we're going to take it through in the opposite direction. So that way, if I've got it through, did it go through the bead? No, it didn't. There we go. So now it goes in the opposite way. And when I pull them apart, it will give me a very nice next little square. So just pull there we go. And there's your next little square. And we're going to just continue doing this process of right angle weave. See that? That's going to give us like our strap shape. So now if you pull it nice and tight, it should all lock fairly well into place. Like I said, you could do this with tiger tail jewelry wire if you wanted to. It would probably be a little bit stiffer, but it'll also give you a very nice effect. So now on this side, I'm going to put 1, and I'll do both beads actually at the same time. 1 and 2 on this one. And I'm going to just get myself, I'm not going to do too much, just so I can show you the gist of how it's going to look rather than make a full bracelet. But if we now take this one in the opposite direction and go through this bead in the opposite way. So one wire goes this way, one piece of thread goes the other, monofilament, and pull through. And there's our next little group. See that? So you would just keep doing this one after the next, after the next, after the next, until you have reached like a half bracelet size. Now, at this point, what we're going to do is imagine that I've done half a bracelet, even though this is like the smallest half a bracelet ever. I'll do one more. Okay. One more. I'll put 2 on one side. And then we'll add our pearl. So this is going to be a really small one. This is more like a ring size than it's like a Barbie bracelet. Let's say it's a Barbie bracelet. So we've got 2 on this side. We've got 1 on this side. And we will also use this same one, to go through that second one in the opposite direction. So slide it down there. And this can go back through there. There we go. And if we pull it, pull them both. Go. Try not to get my wire caught. There. Okay. So this is it for now. We're going to do this. We're going to pretend that this is half a bracelet. Okay. So just continue that process. It's like quite nice effect. It's a little stretchy, which is good if you want it to be like unsure exact size you want it to be. Once you've got to just before your halfway point, we're going to do something a little different. Not terribly different, but we're going to put one piece of monofilament, one bead on this side, one bead on the other side here. So I'll just thread that on there. And now what we'll do is pass our monofilament through our central bead. So both pieces of monofilament are going to go through our coin. So let's choose a nice one. I kind of like, do you know what? It's kind of interesting. They've got these really interesting, I reckon if I almost, look how iridescent the surfaces are. If I turn off the light for a second, hopefully you could see how iridescent each little bead is. They've got, you can still see my other lighting annoyingly, but they've got these beautiful surfaces on them. And they're really, really organic, which I really like. So anyway, let's turn the light back on and we'll get this finished. And then we can all go home. We can have a weekend. It'll be nice. You know, I'm sure you're sick of my face by now. So let's take this bead, shall we? This is actually, I like this one. This one's kind of fun. I like that one. So now what we'll do is just take this both in the same direction. So this one here will go up there. See that? Because they are on that monofilament, it threads through really easily. So we'll take that one through here, just a little bit of the way through. And then let's see if it'll go with the needle as well. I'm kind of expecting it to not, like this might not go through. Oh no, it does. It's nice and fine, this monofilament. There we go. And so when I pull this tight, it should, in theory, get all of these beads to very nicely tighten up. So there we go. Let's tighten this one up, tighten that one up, and then we pull both of these. There we go. It's getting a little tighter. Just take your time to get it nice and firm so we don't have any loose thread. And it's, see like that? See how it now goes through that little pearl? This is going to become the center of our beadwork here. Just adjust it till it's nice and firm. And then we can take our next side and we're going to just continue the same sort of way. So now we will try not to make a huge mess. This is why the bead mat is usually hidden out of the way so you don't see it. And now we will continue doing right angle weave. So 1, 2 on the left and slide them down. Then I'll take my 1 on the right and put it through one of these beads just here, and then cross through that bead there. So this is kind of, we're going back in the opposite direction. This is going to give us the second side of our bracelet. And again, we want to just pull it nice and tight once we get it through there. But yeah, if you want to do it with 3mm beads or 4mm beads or 1,000,000 beads, it doesn't matter. It's up to you how you want to do it. Just whatever you think looks nice. I mean, you probably could do it with elastic too if you really wanted to. It might be a little bit funny, but could work. No reason why not. So there we go. There's the next one. And now let's do our next right angle weave. And then after that, you will have the gist of how this is going to play out. But yeah, you could do this with thread if you prefer, but I think your right angle weave bits will look better using the monofilament. Personally, I think that is my opinion, at least. Right angle weave with thread can be a little bit floppy. So right angle weave with this monofilament or like a fire line, for example, if you prefer using fire line, that's also a good option. So let's go like this. And then I'm going to do like a hack method just to do some right angle weave a bit quicker because I'm lazy and I love lazy methods to do things a bit quicker. So what I'll do is some lazy man's or lazy ladies right angle weave. So let's just do groups of 3. So 1 and then pairs 1 and 2. So this is going to be 1 right angle weave, then 2 more beads. Is going to be another right angle weave, and then 2 more beads. 1, 2. And that's going to give us a couple of right angle weaves already. So now let's just grab our other one. So see how I've got them all strung up, ready to go? We're going to sort of just do it all in one go. So now let's pick up one. This is a expedited right angle weave method, which definitely makes the process quicker. So you go 1, and then you go through. So we've got 1. This will be the opposite side. So we go through that one there. And then pull tight. Like so. Come on now. If I can get it through. I should have used a needle for this side. Oh well. Get it through. And then pull. Once I've done that, there you go. There's the first one done. Now it's on this side, so I can now pick up a bead, skip a bead, and go backwards again. So let's pick up 1 bead. We're going to skip the first one and go backwards through the second one. Once again, so that's this little fellow just here. Should have used a needle. Oh, I could use my V. Where is it? Here it is. This will make my life easier. Use my V shape. My tiger tail V. There we go. And we'll go back through that little bead there. Yep. See how much easier that was when I've got a needle? And we'll pull it tight. Like that. And then the last 2 beads. And we will grab one last one. Here we are. We'll go through here. But yeah, you would just keep making your right angle weave until your 2 straps are the same size, and then you attach in the same way a lobster clasp at the very, very end. So now let's just pass through this last little bead on the end, which is you. Get out of the way. There we go. Back through here. And pull. And there. And when you have this little process completed, it will create one very nice bracelet. And you've literally used 1 bead to make this gorgeous bracelet. I need to tighten it, obviously, but you can see it's getting a little bit loose. Let's just tighten it a fraction. There we are. And that's going to give me this lovely design. I keep pulling it wonky. Oh, whatever. There, see? So yeah, you just keep right angle weaving until you get to the back, and there's your lovely little bracelet. Easy. How was that? What did we think of that last final design? I'm done now. I've had enough. In terms of clasp, this one here is great if you are also lazy. You can attach to one end, then attach to the other, and these are called slide clasps. This little piece, you just slide it down and it makes it longer, like this. And then you can fit your hand through, and then when you want to put it on, you can just pull on the chain, and eventually they slide down and it tightens everything up around your wrist. And that is what these little clasps do. If I'd been less lazy, I would have done it earlier, but you know, this will be fine. So there you go. That's a fun little clasp that you can use. The slide clasp is good for adjustable sizes. It's like a one size fits all type piece. You just slide it to open it, put your hand in, slide it back down to tighten it. Very, very fun. Right, I'm done. I've had enough, I think. Where am I at? Let's get my face back up on the screen, shall we? I will show you very, very quickly my handiwork on the photography that I've been doing. So obviously, I think I've put somewhere in the region of about 70 or more different pearls onto the website. So it's definitely worth at least having a look at all of our gorgeous different pearls we've got. Here is what the homepage looks like today. So if you have a look, it says view all pearls / pearl jewelry ideas. So if you click on this, this will take you to where today's tutorial is that I've been watching, that I've just been doing. So if you click this button just here, this one, pearl jewelry ideas. Now, if you're coming to this video in like 2 weeks or something, the sale will be over. But much like with this one here, you can click, hey, view all 6 colors. I just realized I don't have the button for the tutorial there. I did a tutorial on this just last 2 weeks ago. You can scroll on down. We got all sorts of things, flower kits. But if you want to have a look at freshwater pearls, well, let's just have a look firstly at all of the different products that I've used today. Stinger. There we go. Great. Here is the home page. I tell you, I just was not paying attention there. So if you have a look, there it is. Click this big View All Pearls button. This is the home page. Scroll down. Here's what I did last week. Here's what I did the week before. There's plenty of things on the homepage. Our micro crystals, this is worth checking out for sure. Size 11 crystals. They're really cool. Anyway, so the pearls. If you click View All Pearls, it will show you all the pearls. So you can just click on that button. They are all on sale at the minute. So some of the ones that I used, I was totally going to show you how to do that or whatever. It's too late. The opportunity is gone. There was a really cool way I was going to show you of using the top drilled rice and stuff to make dangly earrings. Maybe next time, eh? Maybe I'll do it as a YouTube short. I'm thinking I'm going to do lots of these as shorts. But anyway, you can see we've got lots of lovely ones. I've been using these today, by the way. These are those big white Baroque beads that I've been using in the tutorial. There's Cashys of all various different colors in there. Keep scrolling on down. If you liked that bracelet that I did at the very, very end there, you could maybe try these diamonds instead. Otherwise, there's coins in, there's ovals in white. There's coins in white. There's peacock colored pearls, which are sort of like a bluish greeny color just here that you can see. Okay, there you go. There's that one there. Now, of course, our prices are showing in pounds. If you are in the US or Europe, you can just head up here at the very, very top and choose your currency. So you can say euros or US dollars right next to the login and register button, which if you haven't made an account on our website is a very good way of doing it, especially if you want to get our free patterns. So yeah, here, euros or US dollars, choose whatever currency you want, and then you can just scroll on down and down and down, and there's pear-shaped ones that are really cool. There's diamonds, there's Cashys, there's yet more Cashys. There's really cool. These are tiny. They're like 4 mil little copper ones. There's blue-colored ones, biwa, which are really, really cool. These look so... these are showstoppers, these ones here. They're like 5 mil wide and then 30 mil from like one side to the other. They're really, really cool, which we also have like a top drilled version somewhere, which is very similar. There's multicolored ones there, which are great if you want to do multiples. There's more Cashys here, all sorts of different colors and shapes and sizes. There's the other biwas. See how these ones, how the holes are at the top? They're really cool. More biwa there. Some lovely potatoes. These are also very good. The pink Baroque version one. There's nuggets. The demi rounds, I really like these. These are good for pendants, which we have them in the peacock and we have them in white. Cranberry rice. The violet nuggets there. Just scroll through. We've got ones of all sorts of different quality. These are huge. These are like 12 mil ones just here. We have, keep scrolling down, all sorts of different ones. These are very, very, very high quality, these. What else we got? Keep going. And then when you get to the bottom, you'll go, but wait, there's more. Here you go. This is the one that I was using today. This one just here. I was just using that big coin there. There's the other demi round. So they're sort of like squashed round ones. And then there's a whole second page. It doesn't have that many on it, I don't think, actually. But if you have a look, make sure you check out the second page. There's some really good stuff on there, too. Lovely, lovely things there as well. So anyway, that is pretty much everything. I need to have a look at why this photo isn't showing the right one. Anyway, that's pretty much it for today. If I head back to the home page, if you want to find all of the different things that I used in today's tutorial, this big button that says Pearl Jewelry Ideas, if you click on that, it will take you to where, well, firstly, where today's video was. You can just click on that and say, there it is. So I did teach you this. This is that herringbone one. This is that bracelet that we just did at the very end. We did this one here at the start. We did this. This is the same premise where you can just link them together. Same with this one. You can use chain to join them, so on and so forth. But anyway, scroll on down. There's all sorts of different products in here. If you keep going down, 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 there's some shimmer chain. There's the different colors of wire. I've been using the light gold, which is this one just here. If you prefer rose gold, we have that. There's the different colors. The silver I've been using is this one just here. There's pearls. There's all sorts of different clasps. Many, many, many different products you can go through. Magnetic clasps. If you want to do some twisting of your Cashys, you can make a 2-strand with this one just here and keep going down. There's all sorts of different ear wires. The one that I did, that hoop one where I attached it to, that's these, the 25 mil ones. Yeah, just keep going down. Then you can view all the different freshwater pearls, all the artistic wire, and all the findings just here. It's all there for you to choose. Of course, if you don't know, we've updated our international shipping this year. So it's even cheaper than ever. So if you're in the US, I think it's cheaper than it's ever been because we were able to negotiate better deals because we got way more people ordering from the US than we've ever had before, which Royal Mail then give us better prices. So we can pass that saving on to you as well. So our postage is now cheaper than ever, even domestically. So wherever you are in the world, you can choose your currency, and then the shipping is even cheaper than it's ever been. And if you're in the UK, register, because if you're spending £20 or more, you get free postage. So another nice little bonus there. Anyway, that's it from me for today. I've had enough. You've surely had enough of me. Go enjoy your weekend. It's nearly 5 p.m. here in the UK. On the Ides of March. I've probably missed the Gold Cup horse race now too, surely. But anyway, thank you very, very much for joining me. I hope you had lots of fun. Comment down after the stream has ended and tell me which of the projects you like best. Make sure you also hit that like button and subscribe. I do live tutorials every 2 weeks. Mainly I do we do a little bit of everything. Today it was wire. Often there's some really basic things like stringing and pearl knotting and stuff like that. Other times it's using needle and thread and making these really intricate, fun designs. All sorts of different things on the channel. Go check it out. I think there's already 200 videos or something out there for those of you who've never seen us before. But anyway, thank you all very, very much for joining me. We've still got, I don't know, Kehao, maybe? Kehao Takahashi there. I can say your last name at least. Takahashi Kehao. We have Eugenia here as well. Eugenia, maybe. We have Maxine still here. Stamps Too Much was still here. Janie was here still, which is great. Kathy we still have, which is lovely to see. The Little Beading Closet, David Rolfe is still here. We've got, who else? Comment in real quick and say goodbye so I can give you a shout out. We have Orgy, who's here, who said, "This is beautiful. I'm glad you enjoyed it." Christine was here. She she really liked the little earrings, she said. Jane said she was a bit late, but no worries about that. Don't worry. But yeah, thank you very, very much, all of you, for joining me. I hope you had lots of fun. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, of course, and click the little bell so that you know when I'm going live, which is every 2 weeks. I do a live tutorial, and every now and again we add in fun little videos between shorts, things like that. But yeah, after the video ends, comment down below and let me know which was your favorite project, because I'm definitely interested to see what you thought was the best. Thank you all once again for joining me. I will see you in 2 weeks' time. I won't tell you what's coming, actually. I was about to, but it's going to be, we've done pearls today. We're going to be doing more gemstone-y type things over the next couple of weeks. So make sure you're here for that one. It's going to be completely different to what we've done today, but hopefully you enjoyed today enough that you will be back in 2 weeks. So thank you very much for joining me. I will see you in the next time. Have a nice weekend, and bye-bye.